Hey folks, Quill18 here, bringing you a Starcraft 2 commentary. For those of you waiting for other games, commentaries like Civ 5 will come. I just record kind of what I play and whatever I'm in the mood for, and I happen to be playing some Starcraft today, and my friend Jay messaged me and asked me if I wanted to play some games with him, so I said sure. Now, we are not good Starcraft 2 players, okay? Just assume we're total noobs. That way you won't be disappointed by any lack of skill going on here. These are our 2 versus 2 placement matches, so we joined up in a team. We joined the queue, and what you have to do is you're going to play 5 games to determine what league you belong in. So our opponents here, we have 2 Zergs. The blue Zerg is Rayura, and the red Zerg is Matau. So, let's take a look at what we've got building here. Well, actually, this is the production queue, and you can see both of the Zerg here seem to be 10 pooling, which is a fairly aggressive rush style. Now, it's not the fastest rush you can do, but it is going to mean a lot of really early Zerglings sort of flooding into our base. Luckily, this is a fairly large map. Now, looking at myself, I've got 13 supply and saving up money. Looks like I'm willing a 13 pool here. I don't remember what strategy I was going for, but what this means is, obviously, so a spawning pool enables you to build Zerglings, so this is going to be a slower start to building my military, but I built more drones first, which means I will have a higher economy. And I should have my spawning pool up before they ever show up in my base with Zerglings. You can see they're pooling their larvae, and they should start popping out a bunch of Zerglings very quickly. There we are. Same here. Good. You can see in the production tab, these 2 players, they are building a bunch of Zerglings, although Rayura is going slightly more economical. He actually built some drones, and he's building a queen as well. Now, Jay is awesome down here, playing as Protoss. He has his gateway underway. He's guarded an assimilator, and he'll probably, as soon as the gateway finishes, put down a cybernetics core. Now, you can see the first batch of Zerglings are coming out at this point, and they've also scouted us. They've got the Overlord in here, and they did run some workers through our bases at some point. Jay building a forward pylon here. Now, it's probably a good idea, since this is the only opening in our base, it would not have been a bad idea for Jay to have built his initial pylon and gateway right up here, so that we could start to, not necessarily do a full wall in, but build kind of a choke point to funnel people through. It would have made it a lot easier to hold. So there's a cybernetic core and a forge going down. Let's pause for a second. Not to criticize what anyone is doing, but generally speaking, as Protoss, at the start of the game, you don't go both, the gateway cybernetics core route and the forge route. Forge enables 2 things. One, it enables you to upgrade your units, which is very good. The other thing it enables you to do is build cannons as defense. Early on, you only have so much money, and you only have to worry about so many things coming into your base. Either you're going to want to go forge first and get some quick cannons up, or you're going to want to go gateway first and start building zealots, and then when you get your cybernetics core up, also start building stalkers. Either you're going to defend your base with static defenses, or with mobile defenses. There's no point in sort of splitting your money on both, because if you spent money on forge and cannons, you're not going to have enough money to field an army that can do anything except sit around in the base. Your army's going to be too small to venture out of your base. So if it's just sitting around in your base, there's no point to have built it when you can just have a few cannons. So my recommendation is to focus a little bit, and starting forge first is perfectly fine. So you can go cannon, forge, and build a bunch of cannons. So, let's keep going here. But you can see the first of the Zerglings is about to stream in, and we've got a few more coming in from the red Zerg as well. And, okay, he's parked, he's waiting for his buddy. That's always a big question that you have to pose when you're playing 2 players. Oh, my Zerglings here. Is, do you rush as quickly as possible, or you wait for everyone to come up? So my Zerglings engage, I pull back because I don't have quite enough. They are going to stream into the Protoss base, but I am trying to build a bunch of Zerglings, I think. Or I will. Jay is running away with his probes. That's okay. You keep your probes alive, buy some time. They're not going to destroy your nexus. I'm toying with these guys. I'm darting forward, trying to do a little bit of damage, pulling back. I'm telling Jay, just build zealots. Zealots destroy Zerglings. Destroy Zerglings. The only reason these Zerglings are a pain in the ass is because they got so much room to run around. At this point, we've whittled our numbers down enough that Jay has sent down his zealot and his probes to attack. Doesn't mean he's lost a few more probes. but overall, it's not bad. Let's take a look at the number of units. You can look at the other team, they have 11 and 12 drones, whereas we have 14 and 15 probes, or 14 probes, 15 drones. Our economy is considerably stronger. Now, I'm pinging the gold base because I say, okay, we fought that off. Awesome. Jay's freaking out. He's like, I've took so much damage, this and that. I'm like, listen, we crushed the wave. We probably have a better economy. That's great. Hey, if your dude is just sitting around, come down here and help me destroy these destructible rocks, because I'm going to want to take this base at some point. Meanwhile, they are coming at us with the second wave of Zerglings. So, they've decided to continue the pressure, which I think this many Zerglings, I think they probably could have just rallied their hatchery before and had some of these in the last fight. Now, they are able to just run by us because we are busy over here, and I didn't realize they would be doing this quite so quickly. So Jay once again running away his probes, which is great. As long as he doesn't lose them, that's all that needs to happen. They're going to start attacking the Nexus, but this Nexus has a lot of health. This many Zerglings will not kill it that quickly. It will give us more than enough time to build up reinforcements. And speaking of reinforcements, Jay was actually able to intercept a bunch of incoming ones, which is fantastic. And I've engaged, and Jay would attack as well, and here he comes. And he's also built a sentry. Now, a sentry is not going to do much in this case because you've got such a big ramp that you can't really block it off. Again, they're starting to hit the Nexus, but there's no point in doing that because what are you possibly going to do? Now, the blue Zerg has built up more drones, but so have I. I'm at 20. And even Jay, who has lost so many probes, is at 16. We have a much, much more powerful economy. I had built a spine crawler at some point when I saw that it was going to be rushed, just in case it came in my direction, which was not necessarily a great idea. It's that whole idea of the static defenses versus mobile defenses. But I was a little bit, I don't know. It's less of an investment, luckily. It doesn't require forge first. And I can't remember what else. And having one spine crawler makes it a lot easier because if you run, if you do the whole thing where I'm running away from the Zerglings and they're chasing me, but the whole time the spine crawler is attacking, that's great. And then finally is the idea that I can move the spine crawler forward. So you can see I'm moving my creep highway forward, and I'm eventually planning on putting the spine crawler on the doorway here. Now, there's always a problem with the spreading the creep when you've got a partner. I probably should have kept the creep coomers along the side here just to try to avoid too much damage. And at this point, we've actually got roaches coming our way. But these are slow roaches off creep, so they're going to get hunted down pretty well. I've got my own roaches for defense, which are going to do great damage. Looks like we're actually going to be overwhelmed here. I'm leaving these roaches in. I've got some more coming in from the back, which should help clean up these Zerglings. In fact, my forward roaches are even surviving, despite the fact that they were kind of outnumbered and surrounded for a bit. And at this point, Jay's saying, hey, pull back, I've got a cannon. We'll defend that way. It's like, yeah, great. And the whole time, we're just still building up our economy. We're 17 and 20 probes versus 14 to 13, I should say, harvesters. So again, a lot more money. And now, what are they doing? See, look at this guy. He built 2 spine crawlers. Why would you do that? If you're being aggressive with building lots and lots and lots of units, why on earth would you need static defenses? They were probably worried about a counterattack, but that wasn't going to come. This guy starts building Hydras, which is very interesting. Hydras do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, they are apocalyptically slow off creep. These guys have not spread their creep. Obviously not necessarily that great. We do have the rocks down at this point, so I'm just doing this expand. I'm like, nah, it's cool, if they want to keep attacking us, that's fine. We will keep trying to defend that. At this point, they have built up some more economy, though. And let's go back to the production tab. Oh, I remember this. I built this Hydra list. I do this all the time. For some reason, I start building a Hydralisk den instead of a spawning, or not a Spire. I wanted Mutalisks, but I built the Hydra den and was like, oh, that's so stupid. Really, really was not interested. I'm building a second hatchery in my base because I do have a lot of extra money and I hadn't expanded yet, so I wanted the extra larva, especially taking the gold base. The gold base gives you such ridiculous mineral income that I really like having this macro hatchery ready for that to come up. You can populate it very quickly by spamming up more drones, but then you have more larvae for Zerglings. Scooching forward a little bit with my roaches here, trying to establish a bit more forward location. We probably should have claimed this Zelnaga tower earlier just to give us a little bit more vision. And I've got a Zergling out here, and I think I'd sent one out here at some point. Looks like blue is expanding, which is a very, very good idea. So we're starting to do that a little bit. Now, we're going to have the advantage by having the gold base here, plus I am simply going to have better production because I have the second hatchery. I do have a lair along with them, of course, because that's the only way you could build a Hydra den and this. Have I gotten roach speed? No, I didn't actually, and I really should have. Roach speed is really powerful, and if you have a roach den up, if you have any roaches, it's usually the first thing you want to do as soon as you finish your lair. You can see I'm starting to saturate this. If we take a look at our income, you can see my income is in the 800s. Jay's is in the 500s, and contrast that to 400 and 600. We're obviously doing considerably better. All we have to do is hold. I'm sure of the fact that we're ahead, although now we are starting to, they are starting to take more and more expansions. There's this lull, they're taking advantage of it. But if we look at the harvester count, I have 31. And we have 22 versus their 21 and 17. Our economy is so much better. We were just going to have way more money than they do. I'm not necessarily staying perfectly on top of my income here, because I get 400 minerals and 400 gas. Let's take a look at Jay. Down on his minerals, that's good. He's got a little bit more gas than he could spend, which tends to happen a lot on the one base if you're not building a lot of, if you don't have a lot of gateways or robos. You only have the 2 gate. Oh no, here we go, some more here, and also a Twilight Council. I think his plan was to pick up Blink. So, am I building Mutalisks? That is the question. In fact, I have started to build Mutalisks. I've started to build Aspire, which is normally the stage I like to get to. I like to get this expansion, but then I don't like to overexpand. And if they decide to do, which is what they've done, and in fact we've spotted their expansion here. Oh right, I built a Changeling using an Overseer somewhere to scout out these bases, just to see if they were expanding, so we're going to hit one. But I don't often like to move so many troops out of position unless I'm really confident. So I like to build the Mutalisks so that I can do hit and runs on these bases and just keep up my economy through harass. So here comes the Hydras, and it's actually a really poor angle for them. So we're going to do a hell of a lot of damage. Not all of our units can attack. Nice force field there by Jay, actually, blocking people in a little bit. Now the Hydras do have good range, so they're able to keep hitting us. But we clean that all up, and we're going to come back and kill this as well. We do have a second group of Hydras coming this way. But look how slow they move off creep. If you are not spreading your creep, and they do have not put a single creep tumor down anywhere, if you don't have creep everywhere, you don't want to go Hydras using roaches. If you want to use Hydras, you have to spread creep aggressively, which means keeping your queens at like 0 energy, and in fact, often building an extra queen. One more queen than you have bases, just to build creep tumors. At this point, we're going to pull back here. Of course, it would have been really easy to pull back because they move so slow. I don't know why I even left my troops there. I may have been macroing at home or something. Looks like I'm building a spine crawler. Yeah, right here. And have I moved my other one forward? No, that was a mistake. I should move this guy forward a long time ago. But I want to sort of protect this angle a little bit. A couple of spine crawlers, because they can still attack this way, but I wanted to have a little bit of control, protect my gold base, because it is so critical at this point. And now, what is the unit count? How many? I only have 4 Mutalisks, but I'm building more. Kept stopping. I've also started Metabolic Boost, because what tends to happen when I go Mutalisk, all my gas goes there, and then I end up with a big surplus of minerals. And so it's definitely important to get back on the Zergling train. And you don't want to have Zerglings without Metabolic Boost. It's just too important. There we go, get my first group of 7 Mutalisks running out here. I've got 5 more in production. Almost wondering if it would have been worth waiting. Now 7 can do a lot. I can start hitting these bases, looking around. I'm not even sure. Okay, I do know that there's a base here. But even if I weren't, I'd be checking all these, and now my goal is to kill a lot of drones. And now that I'm hoping they're on their back foot, they lost their army, and I'm going to be harassing, I start setting up some new expansions. So does Jay. We're just going to be able to keep them on back foot. I've got to stay away from these Hydras because they will rip my mutas apart very, 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 very quickly. Now, it's not really possible to simultaneously build things at both bases, although it looks like I'm doing my best. Yeah, I'm all rallied over here. My goal is to... can I just hit the hotkeys? Oh, I can, too. My goal is to saturate one base at a time. I'm going to start with this one, start a couple of gas geysers. It might be worth putting up a couple of spine crawlers, or maybe one spine crawler, just to stop any sort of annoying, like, 1 or 2 units coming in here wrecking havoc, but it's not going to start an army. Mostly you're going to want mobility. Luckily, by going Mutalisks and Zerglings and Speedlings, I'm going to have that mobility to defend all my various bases, where by going Hydralisk, they're not going to be able to do that. I'm going to be able to run around the map completely. They're going to stay pinned in their base. It's very interesting that he actually has a Nidus network. I don't know where the end of the Nidus network is. He never actually used it against us, as far as I know. Huh, curious. I'm a little bit pinned back behind their base now, although it is going to enable me to snipe out some overlords in a moment. Here we go. I do have my Zergling flyer attack, or my Zerg flyer attack going up. There we go, one down. Try not to lose the Mutalisks, and I don't. Should be able to snipe another Overlord here. Just generally be annoying. Just trying to stay active with these mutas, because they're a very active unit. If you're just letting them sit somewhere, it's pretty wasted. But yeah, I'm a little bit pinned down. I do have a lot more mutas at home, and you can see I'm starting to build the Zerglings. And in these low-level multiplayer games, I find that these Zerglings are so good at doing these hit-and-run attacks. It's just ridiculous. I'm actually getting an Infestation Pit because I want to upgrade to a Hive just to get the crackling speed for my Zergling. And I'm also upgrading their melee attack, and I think their Carapace somewhere, maybe not. No. So a bit of a lull here. But yeah, you can see they're totally pinned back with their Hydras. And if we look at the income tab, look at my income. 1,400 minerals per second, outstripping everyone else. And Jay is ahead of Blue, and Red has got virtually nothing because his main base, it's just not saturated enough, is it? Oh, he needs about twice as many drones in this base to be fully saturated. And he's got virtually no drones here. He shouldn't even be mining gas. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. He's got lots of minerals in both. Clearly Red, not really good on his macro. Not very many drones here. I think I killed a bunch, though, but even this is undersaturated. And this is what's killing these guys. They just don't have enough harvesters. Look, I have 62 harvesters versus their 20 and 18. Absolutely, absolutely terrible. Jay is awesome. Could use some extra probes here. Ooh, Colossus, love that. And here, he's about half saturation at both. And he should definitely, especially as a Protoss or Terran, there's no reason why you can't be constantly producing harvesters out of your Nexus or command centers. As Zerg, you have to make decisions back and forth. Do I create harvesters or military units? Now, luckily, when you do decide to spam out harvesters, you can get them very, very quickly. You can see how quick my income is up now, just because I have so many bases. And I think I'm trying to spend my larva as much as possible. Looks like we actually have an attack coming down to the bases down here. And it's going to be spotted by Zerglings, who actually do pretty decent against Hydras. Hydras do a lot more damage, and they are going to win this battle. But the amount of money spent to do that is not much. I'm pretty much going to lose this base, though. I think I even try to run away with my drones. Yeah, I think I just right-clicked them to this other expansion. I'll lose a bunch, but that's okay. I'm totally okay with that. I don't want to lose my workers. Losing the hatchery is not going to be the end of the world. Meanwhile, we are regrouping, building lots of speedlings, and now the big question is, am I going to attack them, or... Nope, looks like I attack move towards their base. Oh! And the whole time my Mutalisks were crushing face. Sorry I missed that. And that's what I love to do as Zerglings. Like, okay, you know what? Hydras are quite powerful. You need a pretty, beefy army to take them on. Although Stalkers, with Colossus, can definitely do that. Colossus are so good against Hydras. But with Zerglings, I just say, okay, I'm just gonna... And I have so many mutas, too. I can just hit them all over the place. And that's the end of the game. So, you know, not the highest level game, but it was a lot of fun. So that was our first placement match together.